Alright, so tonight we're gonna change Dana's tandem. So I'm gonna drop her insulin. This is her Humalog. Usually label it because we were told, you know, like if you poke this, then if you would need to use it with a micro needle to inject it subcutaneously, then it's gonna give extra dose of insulin. So it's important to label your pen. Okay, so I'm gonna clean it. And then I've attached the needle to the 3 ml syringe. We usually need 1.8 to prime the line. So just take the bubbles out. Okay, there's 1.8. And then the cartridge has like a little stopper over here. So you will inject the syringe and then aspirate the air out so that we won't have air when we prime the line. Once you feel the resistance and there's no more air coming out, then you just take it out. And then tap again to tap the air out. There we go. And then now we're going to introduce it, inject it to the cartridge. And then when you're near the end, just make sure there's no bubble on the hub when you're injecting it. Okay, so that's it. And then I will try to untwirl this. Just make sure you don't push the little hub over here, because we don't want it pushed out. And this is called the Autosoft 90 in gray color. So we'll just attach it to the end piece of the cartridge. Make sure it's like locked properly so there's no insulin leakage. So that part is done. And this is Dana's Insulin X2 Tandem Insulin X2 pump. So we're gonna program to change the cartridge. So go to options, press load, and change cartridge. And it says insulin will be stopped, so that's fine. And it will ask you if you're ready to continue. Then don't press unlock yet. There's a little thing to open or push the old cartridge out. Insert it in this slot, and then push it forward. There we go. Take this old one out. And then this new one, it's easy. There's like a ridge that you just, like make sure that it's in the middle And you know it's in properly because when you push it down, it's gonna click. There you go. So once that's done, you unlock it, and then it's gonna ask you if the cartridge is installed. You just check mark it, and it's gonna detect the cartridge. Of course, before you do all these things, make sure you wash your hands and your field is clean. Okay, and then on the screen, it's asking you if you're ready to fill your tubing line with insulin. So you say okay, but before I press start, make sure the tubing is, there's like a ridge here that you lock the tubing so that it doesn't get in the way. And then I would hold it this way and then this here so that I would see if the tubing is filled up, and then the insulin drop will come out of this little gauge needle. So I will press start. Usually it takes like 12 to 13 units of insulin to prime the whole line. So it's starting to fill. Just make sure when it's pumping the insulin, there's no big air gaps in between, so that we're making sure that the proper amount of insulin is being delivered. There you go, you see one drop of insulin, so that means the line has been primed. And you press this, stop. And then once it's done, it's gonna say, have you seen the drop of the insulin? It would say the amount, you know, that it took the pump to fill the whole extension. And you press done. So the next thing we do is put it on Dana. So what I usually do, I make sure I press this softly, not really pressing on it, just make sure that once I take this cover for the introducer off, that I'm not pulling it out. And then this cover for the adhesive, I have to peel it off and make sure I do it slowly so that I don't pull the whole thing out. Otherwise, it's not gonna be sticking properly if we do pull everything out. Okay, and then usually from what I have remembered when we did the education, you hold this part where the lines are, so you hold both sides, and there is like a little lever that you have to pull out So it goes in all the way before we attach it to the skin. And it's gonna make a clicking sound, just like a slingshot. You pull it up, pull it downwards. And so this is what it looks like. And so while we are getting ready to put it on the site, we will have to clean the site with alcohol. Make sure it's all clean. Okay, so usually we put it on the same side where the Dexcom glucose, continuous glucose monitoring is. So right now it's on Dana's left side, and you have to rotate the sides so it doesn't get well, necrotic. So Dana prefers it to be where? On this side. So we clean this. Make sure it dries out. So you kind of like see where you want it on, and you just put this on that side where you want it placed. So Dana usually wants this side on that side because it's easier for her to clip on the waist. So there you go. And then once it's stable enough, I will count 1, 2, 3 so that Dana will be ready to. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And you just press it slightly, make sure it's sticking, and then pull this out slowly. So when it comes out, you just see the needle. And there you go. Just make sure you press on the adhesive so it lasts long. Usually she doesn't have problems with it getting taken off. It lasts for like 3 days, which is the recommended number of days before it gets changed. And there we go. And then on the palm, it's asking for us to fill the cannula. And it's just 0.3 units, and you press start. Just put a check mark that we're done, and it says setting saved. And then we want the reminder to be set on, so the pump will remind us when it's due to be changed, but otherwise it should be changed every 3 days. And you check mark that. And you know, sometimes you know, like you have to check the blood sugar, make sure that the proper amount of insulin is being delivered. So it says we'll resume all deliveries, and you just check mark it, and it's resuming insulin now. So right now, there we go, we're all done. That's it.